Hey guys, so today I wanted to share with you 5 tips or things that I found or things that people told me about that really helped me with breastfeeding. I've been breastfeeding now for almost 9 months, not really had any trouble. The beginning was a little bumpy and it was the worst part, but these are 5 things that I have found to be completely true, and I think most women will agree on them, that if you follow these 5, it will really help you in the long run in being successful with breastfeeding. So let's just get started. One of the first things that I got told was to drink lots and lots of fluids, because when you nurse, a lot of your fluids is going from you to your baby. So you can become dehydrated easily, and then plus, you know, you've just given birth, you've gone through all of that, your body is weak and you're tired. So it's a really good thing, and it's also really true. I found, especially in the beginning, if I would drink a bottle of water or a bottle of Gatorade or something like that before I pumped, I would get more milk. And same thing with breastfeeding, like after or while Evangeline was nursing, especially when she was really small, like newborn stage, I would be drinking a bottle of water, or I would finish an entire bottle of water after I nursed her. The next tip that I want to share with you is to not be discouraged by pumping. And what I mean by that is, in the beginning, with my very first daughter, I only breastfed her for about 2 weeks. And I had some issues with breastfeeding, but in the very beginning, they let me pump in the hospital and let my husband syringe feed her my milk in the hospital. And in the hospital, I was getting like an ounce already, and my milk hadn't even come in. And it was very exciting and it just made me feel good. It made me feel like, oh, I've got plenty of milk. This is going to go great. And then when my second daughter came, I immediately requested a pump because I wanted to pump again. I thought I would have the same result, the same success, and I didn't even get like a quarter of an ounce. And it was very upsetting for me. And the whole way through like the early stage of breastfeeding with learning and stuff, the entire time I would try to pump and I wasn't getting as much as I thought I should be getting, or as much as I had gotten with my first child. And it was really discouraging, and then it made me start worrying about my milk supply. Don't do that. Pumping is not a good indicator of supply. What's a good indicator of your milk supply is your baby. Is your baby getting enough to eat? Are they having enough wet diapers? Are they gaining enough weight? That's your better indicator, not what you're pumping, because pumps are not like the babies. They don't get as much milk out, and every woman is different. For me, this time around pumping, I don't pump as much as I know I make. One of the next things that I got told from the beginning was to nurse on demand, that would help my milk supply. So that was what I did. I did not put my daughter on any kind of a schedule, and even as she's gotten older, she is not on a schedule. Yes, she eats generally about the same times every day, but she has self-regulated. She has done that herself. I have not encouraged it. I've not planned it whatsoever. In the beginning, whenever she cried, I would nurse her. That was it, period. I nursed her whenever she wanted, however long she wanted. I did not move her, and I would literally sit there with her on me for an hour or longer, sucking, sleeping, going back and forth. But that's a good thing. It really does help your milk, and eventually your baby is going to self-regulate just like my daughter did, and there will be sort of a schedule. It might not be, exact, but there will eventually be one, but it's going to be on your own baby's time. And as long as you let that happen naturally, you're not going to have the stress of trying to basically work your whole day around feeding your baby. This is something that no one told me, that I kind of figured out on my own, and I'm sure other women have the same experience, but I wish someone would have told me this in the beginning. Don't let the stress of how much milk you're producing, or if you're doing it right, if your baby is latching right, if you're perfect at breastfeeding, don't let that stress or that fear stop you from enjoying the experience, because that time with your baby is so precious. Like, when I think back to the very first time that I nursed her, it was amazing. It was like perfect. It was everything I could have ever dreamed for with starting out with a breastfeeding experience. But as time went on, in the first couple of months, because my daughter was tongue-tied and I had latch issues and stuff like that, I let a lot of that stress and that fear get to me and kind of take away from my experience. So don't let it do that to you. Enjoy it. Don't worry about your milk supply. It will come in and it will regulate. Like I said, the pumping, that's not a good indicator. If you're leaking and soaking nursing pads, that's not a good indicator. What's a good indicator is your baby and your baby's growth. So don't let any of that stress, any of those fears, don't let it take away from that magical chance to bond with your baby like that. The final thing that I want to share with you guys is not necessarily something anyone told me. It was something that I learned and that I figured out on my own as I went along breastfeeding. And that is that all the money that you can spend on cool breastfeeding products, and there's a lot out there, and some of them are worth the money, some of them are not. You know, it is what it is. It's like everything else. But all the money that you can spend on special nursing bras and pads and creams and, oh gosh, milk savers and all this crazy stuff that they make that you can buy is not going to make you successful at breastfeeding. It's not going to guarantee you that you're going to be able to do it. What's really going to do that for you is your own determination and your own willpower and how much you really want to do this. And I say that because I think a lot of women go into breastfeeding thinking that it's going to come natural and that they already know it, that it's in their DNA as a woman. They know how to breastfeed, and that baby, when it comes out of your womb, knows how to nurse. And that's not true. You have to learn, your baby has to learn. There's a lot of things to it that any class or any book can't teach you or can't prepare you for. It's a learn as you go thing, and I think a lot of people don't realize that. And then they start breastfeeding and they're so discouraged and they're so upset and they're so tired, and just all the newness is just so frustrating that they give up. So that's where what I said about willpower and your own determination comes in. When I had my second daughter, I was so determined to breastfeed. Like, I was afraid in my mind about, okay, what if I have preeclampsia again? What if I'm sick again? What if things go wrong again and I can't breastfeed? What if I have to have medicine? What if all these things happen? But I also had this really strong determination inside me that I wanted to breastfeed, that I was going to do it. And so when we came home from the hospital, I had to have this mindset of, it's going to work, I'm going to make it happen, I'm going to get up, I'm going to pump, I'm going to nurse, I'm going to do it all. You know, formula is just, I'm just going to pretend like it doesn't exist and do it. And so, you know, I did just that, and here we are 9 months later, and we're still breastfeeding. Guys, this is my little boopy baby, Evangeline. Are you a boopy baby? Yeah, look. She is breastfed and she's happy and we're happy, and we have been now for almost 9 months, so going on a year, and it's been amazing. I wouldn't trade it for anything, and if I could go back, I would do the same thing all over again, for all the cracked nipples, milk blisters, all of it. I'd do it all over again. And I hope that these little things that I've learned and that people have told me will help you on your journey to breastfeeding. Bye guys.